Productions.
Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
Welcome. It's LPR. It's Monday. Monday in the house. David's in here. He says, my love. Okay. I don't know what that is. I thought we would talk because there's been some new developments in the world of Tyler and LPR. I hope you enjoyed the last two interviews. I don't know if I'm going to come to you with a Wednesday show, but I'm going to do Friday, most likely, unless I go golfing. And then I've got some interviews lined up, some more interviews going here. Michael Oxford, he's Cali-based. You've probably seen him on some things. He was on Tucker Carlson at one point. The crazy lady Mel, I'm going to have her on as well. I've reached out to some other people. Let's do interviews. Why not? It's time to bring it in, to start having the discussions. We had Lee on last week, Lee Enfield, and we talked about the Glock ban stuff, right? And then I had Mary Fagan Keene on Friday, and we went over Leo Frank stuff, and did a decent amount of. She brought in. I don't know what to say about it. Maybe if you're a new person here because of that, thank you for coming. Yes, this is live. Evening, everybody. Evening, boys. I got like almost 700 new followers on the subscribers. And by the way, if you're in Substack and you've gone there, you would have seen tonight that I had sent out a message saying, hey, we're going live. So I'm glad you would have known that this was live, but you also would have got the notification if you're not getting them from YouTube. Now, what the thing is with YouTube, I got all these new subscribers. And then it'll be like, it just happened over I was eating and it dropped by 50 subscribers, just bam. And it's because I think there's bots. I don't know, in some of the comments, I don't know if I am maybe fueled by, who would be caring about Leo Frank out there? Qatar? Am I being botted out by Qatar here? Eddie Grimm says, last interview was a banger. We'll love to see her back sometime. By the way, she was a great person to just have a chat with and to interview. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for that comment. I think it was good too. And I'm looking to be, I don't know anything, I plead the fifth. Okay, a sixth. So you plead the sixth. Isn't that right to a speedy trial and a judge, yeah, self-incrimination is fifth. What is Sixth Amendment? Is it right to a speedy trial? I think that maybe is, let's take a look here. Sixth Amendment. You guys are like, wait, you're an attorney, you don't know this? I don't know off the top of my head. Sets forth the right to a criminal prosecution. Yeah, okay. Criminal rights for individuals accused of crimes and criminal prosecution. These rights include a right to a speedy trial. I nailed it. Okay. Anyway, she was fantastic. She was real easy to talk to. And yes, I do want to bring her back on to talk to more stuff. But, you know, I had done so much of the Leo Frank stuff myself. I just wanted to go into different parts of it with her and mostly get that last bit. She's doing a bunch of stuff. She's great. She's really focused on this. And so I appreciate the comments there. No one is in the chat on Rumble yet. You guys are over there. We're also should be going live on Twitter. We're live on Twitter, and I also believe we're streaming live to the Substack. If you're on the app, you can get that. So there we are. So this is what I should have done at the start here, which was tell you about what's going to be on the show. I need to rebrand and do better at some things. I should have started out with, hey, welcome to the show. Tonight's show, we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk. There's a gag order in effect. Or is it? No, there is. It's been out there for quite some time, well over a month, I believe. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about whether he can be restrained at trial in leggings, and also can he dress like a normal person, right? And I have some very strong opinions about that. And Candace broke some things on her show. She was back today. I don't know that I was all that interested in what she brought to the table today, but I'm going to be following along because it is must-see TV. What else? And then if I get a chance to it, there is a case here in Tennessee that I want to go over because it's Charlie Kirk related. We started to talk about that. It's a Miss Orbison that got fired as a school teacher for saying some shit about Charlie Kirk. So there you go. So what is this show about? I'm a family law attorney. I love to talk about politics. I love to talk about stuff that's in the news. And I like to do it from a legal perspective. So there are some law tubers out there. They will break everything down, read the complaints. I do some of that. I like that. Minder says, I missed some of your reviews of libertarian podcasts. I used to do, that's what the whole thing was. It was that's a bit much sometimes because you've got to, but I'm going to do a little bit of that right now because breaking news, we have a show that's going on right now. Or it was leaked out there today, and it is, let's see if this even shows up in here. Here we go. So let's break into here because I wanted to play a little bit of this. Tucker Carlson, breaking news, has on tonight, or he released it, Nick Fuentes. Okay, so we're gonna play a little bit of this because I thought there was some parts of it, and I've made the comments about not Tucker Carlson, but about Nick Fuentes, how he's a bit whiny, okay? And this comes across this way. Now, look, if Tucker and Nick Fuentes can make up, how come Jose and I aren't? Why? That's what I wanted to know, right? Why am I not being made up with Jose? Jose, reach out to me. I've reached out to you. You come on back. Let's make things right in this world. But they're on the show, and I was expecting some little back and forth. Then there were, and I don't know what you say, very preachy men. The two of them, possibly. But there's an important part here. I don't know if I hit the right spot, but we'll just try it.
You were fed because I was like, here he's bear hugging like the one sincere guy who lost his wife in Syria thanks to the fucking crazy wars, neocon wars, and he's discredited. He's doing the David Duke. Like David Duke would always, every time I rolled out a new show, he would issue an endorsement of the show. I've never met the guy. What's that? Well, it's the feds. Obviously, he's trying to destroy me by association. Whatever. You see the point?
Yeah, but so let me ask you this. So if I'm supporting Joe Kent, I'm David Duke bear hugging. If I attack Joe Kent, I'm attacking the only sincere America First voices.
I get it. I mean, I do get it, and I just want to say I love Joe Kent. I get it. Having been denounced by a lot of people I like, I know what that feels like. Mm-hmm. So I definitely am sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
I was denounced by someone I like last night. I hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to say what her name is, but I helped her. I liked her. It's like, why are you denouncing me? Why didn't you call me?
Yeah.
Right? I get that. I guess the two problems. But then on the other hand, like one of my favorite people in the world is Glenn Greenwald.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Glenn.
Oh, what a good man. Glenn must have spent like 10 years attacking me full time. Tucker Carlson is da-da-da-da-da. And some of his criticism was correct, actually. A tool of the neocons, endorsing these fucking wars. Like, he was right. But he really hated me. And then when we started to agree on stuff, I was like, you know what? It's not about me. I don't care. Like, I don't want personal pique or my hurt feelings to govern my behavior. I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm not lecturing you. I get it. But I feel like, okay, he pissed you off. It's in a campaign. He's got 19 consultants. This kid's a Nazi. Be careful of him. Like, I don't know. Let it go.
Well, and I totally agree with you, by the way. And that's why I don't take it personally at all. Like, and I like you.
Okay. That was kind of my thing here. And I don't know if we're going to see a new Nick. Nick is very young, gets thrown into the thralls of all this. But that conversation, that back and forth, I think is very important because, of course, he takes it personal. I mean, if you didn't read the reaction or watch the reaction to him, and I will say Tucker Carlson took him on first. He's right because he mentions that in here as well. But the Candace thing, he thinks Candace probably took him on first with the interview, but that's in your face. And then he goes back and he whines like such a little bitch. Now, I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm enjoying kind of the normalization of Nick Fuentes. Why? Not so much because it normalizes Nick Fuentes, but because it pisses off the Tucker Carlsons, the Mark Levins, and these types. That to me is fantastic. Okay. Now, so his little tiff with Candace, I thought, and I've said this over and over. If you're new here, I said he being Nick was talking to a woman. And she talked to him and argued like a woman. Okay, so that was to me, that was just, it was what it was. Okay, let's go on here and move. Oh, we've got a few other people. As a lot of you blame you for the Tower Gang divorce, not me, of course. Well, not. I don't know. Oh, Nate. So this is one of my lifelong old school friends. As a libertarian, what is your opinion on Towns' adoption of Sharia law? Now, I haven't taken a full, you know what's interesting though? I do have a thing I was possibly going to look at, which is Sikh and non-Sikh divorce disagree on whether children should get haircuts. Now let's really take a look here at Sharia law, which is, it's not the Constitution. So I believe, if you're going to say as a hardcore ANCAP libertarian, communities, you wouldn't be governed by, state necessarily. You'd be able, as your own communities, you could have your communist community, you can have your free communities, you can have all that. And then you need to have social ills that come into it, right, that make things difficult. First of all, I don't know which towns are adopting Sharia law, and what makes me wonder about this is, and you could be very true, because I know, but there's a lot of threats out there of communities adopting Sharia law, and then you actually look into it and know it's people. As an example, I know some people, I may or may not have been their attorney, of a certain faith that they do not believe that you can get a divorce. Okay. Well, one of the parties wants to get a divorce and the U.S. court's going to grant a divorce. So they grant it. He just doesn't want it to be that he consented to this. Perfectly fine. We've got a ruling out there. You've already been divorced. Anyway, so that's part of it. I guess my issue is maybe throw me up, Nate, send me a DM of where you're specifically talking about that's happened like this, because I would like to look into it, because oftentimes it's situations where maybe the state, if it's all Sharia stuff within that county or that municipality or whatever, they're just not really doing much about whatever. And then they're leaving it up to the religious sects to make dictates on those people's lives, which actually is a much better way, I think, of going about things just from a individual perspective. But if you have a conflict between a person, Muslim faith, and a person of Jewish faith, you should not be adopting Sharia law. You should not be adopting basic law, which is what that's what they call the law there in Israel, or some sort of Talmudic law, right? You should be adopting the law under the Constitution. So I will be interested in taking a look at that. Okay, so enough about the Tucker and all that stuff. Let's get to the main issue today, and here we go. Let's start with this one.
Oh, God. Oh.
Tell me if the sound is okay.
Oh, I can't believe I just did that. I should probably get the heck out of Dodge, but first, let me text my leftist trans lover every detail of what I just did and why. I've been planning for a week. Engraved the bullets. disassemble the rifle, reassemble the rifle, disassemble the rifle, reassemble the rifle, disassemble the rifle, reassemble the rifle without a screwdriver while running, put it in the woods, covered it in a towel. I did this for you. And send. All right. It's a good thing that I, Tyler Robinson, someone who has a 4.0 GPA and a 34 on the ACT, is smart enough to know that there is no way that the FBI could ever get a hold of my text messages.
None of us are screaming, maybe not you because you're pro-Israel, but he thinks people like me, he loves you. He thinks people like me should be isolated.
Whoops, I don't know what's going on there. Oh, I know what I had two of those together. Let me fix this. So I'm the only one running my show here. So I want to cover that one up, cover that one up. Actually, it's cover, not that one. There we go. Let's try this. I'm gonna try this one more time.
None of us are screaming, let's kill Tyler. That's not, you would never hear any of us saying something like that.
Have you
heard? Some of you might be saying that. Okay. I wanted to play that because what I've said about this Tyler Robinson thing and Charlie Kirk is from the start, I really, really want to have the best possible, most discovery, because I don't want to have a trial coming out and people are like, ooh, that's questionable. I just want it dead. I don't want mysteries on this one, okay? And what you're going to have when I play the clip there of the guy talking about the assembled rifle, these are facts that have come out through the FBI, Louder with Crowder from the FBI, right? Scribbling on the bullets, the text chats that are, who knows what it is, some Discord, could all be very legit. My biggest problem as far as conspiracy shit that goes here, and the problem is a 30-06 not going through the throat. Yeah, you haven't convinced me on that one as much. That worm is such an expensive chair. That worm in such an expensive chair. Oh, you're talking about Nick or Gavin? Could be. Sound is good. Good to know. And by the way, you don't. This is what we need to do here, and this is what I do. I think. I'm not for Nick. I'm not for Tucker. I'm not for Candace. I'm not for Gavin. I'm for America first, and I'm for Tyler, and I'm for LPR, and anyone that's in the chat here. This is what we're for those people. So you don't have to take everything. And by the way, I am for bifurcating friendship in a sense, as far as online shit, right? Which is I'm interested in having agreements with Glenn Greenwald on some things, and then understanding that other things I'm just not going to have it at all. Tucker could be fine on some things, push some areas that I like, and then not at all. The question and the concern we always have, we need to look at in this is, how do we or me use them rather than them using us? Okay. And by the way, I don't know if I ever answered your actual question, Nate, from a libertarian perspective. I'll just say this about libertarian. I don't know that I necessarily am a libertarian as far as the political philosophy anymore. I don't know what that is. I just know that I'm disgusted with a lot of the stuff on the right, a lot of stuff on the left, a lot of libertarians, everyone in between. And I think libertarianism is the best possible legal philosophy. Okay, I don't know about a political philosophy, but definitely legal philosophy. And almost everything that derives when you can say how you feel about things, it's in how they work. I mean, I've got books here. Anarchy and the Law. It's an amazing book breaking down a lot of that stuff. Choice, Robert Murphy. That's another one. Government by Judiciary. That's against the 14th Amendment. So I'm fine with that one as well. Okay, so now let's talk about Tyler Robinson. And by the way, if you get a chance and you go to, let's see if I want to find it here. And you go to this girl called Andrea Burkhart. I'll bring her website up here. This is her Substack. She's posting. She's paid for, and she's posting all the dockets that are useful for Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson. Okay, so we got them all here now. Am I going to go through the gag order? I don't think I want to go through the gag order right now because I want to play some of these other things. If we have a chance, we get there. Basically, there's a gag order out there, okay? And everyone's freaking out about it because it says every potential witness, the bigger problem, and then they actually say in the hearing, there's like, well, there's 3,000 people there that could all be, sorry, I just saw this here. that could all be witnesses, and so they have a gag order, and the judge is like, no, as they become witnesses, then we're putting a gag. I'm not a fan of the gag order. However, I'm also the bigger problem could be it says attorneys and potential counsel, so you didn't even know who that could be. It's really kind of weird. I just don't want to see it gagged, and I don't think it's good for the process. Now, Tyler Robinson had requested to not be shackled and to not have him in his that neck brace thing and everything, so he can't commit suicide. It's obvious. Let's take a look here at our this. So this picture of shows here of him where he's in the neck thing, and it's his shot. You don't want to be coming to court dressed like that. There's a obvious prejudice that you can have for that. So let's take a look how Fox News did, and I'm going to spoiler alert right up front. If the court is believed to be you are innocent until proven guilty, then by all means that is very prejudicial to not have to have you in a jumpsuit and shackled up in court already. Now, we're going to play some stuff from the judge, but we're going to play this stuff here from McEnany, which she was the White House press person under Trump, I believe, for a while. Remember all the things that the right has said about lawfare against Trump. Hey, he's not. These are just accusations. Not until you got. He wasn't. There was an actual defamation lawsuit against ABC and George Stephanopoulos, as they say. Because he said he was criminally guilty, and they're like, that's not the technical term. And so they go after him because he was civilly liable, and it wasn't rape, it was something else. So, like abuse or something. I don't remember the actual technical term. The point I'm getting at is due process is a very important aspect, okay? Before you're filing things, and I've told you, that's why I played that clip up front of the guy with all these things going on, and confusion with the FBI. The only way to get to this is to have the best possible trial that you can have with as much evidence as possible, so that when you're done, you're like, this guy did it, or this guy didn't do it. I don't want to have this shit that goes on where we're confused and the government's hiding the ball, and the press is just pushing this one narrative because they like it. And there you go. So McEnany. She's on news, right? And this is what she says. You could only imagine how much makeup's on that face, by the way. Tyler Robinson's attorney claims that if he wears jail clothing, it will inevitably lead to prospective juror perception that he is guilty and deserving of death. Their problem is not his clothing, but rather the mountain of evidence he faces: DNA, text messages, witness testimony, and more. Okay, so obviously there's a problematic statement there, but let's see what this obviously super intelligent person has to say.
I have this defense motion here. You turn to page 14. This is their argument. They say September 16th, when he appeared in that jail attire, in that WebEx proceeding, they said it was covered by ABC, CBS, NBC Newsweek, NPR, Daily Mail, Fox News, CNN, countless others. 18,000 new search results, they say. His attorneys say Robinson in jail garb, shackles, and a suicide vest will undoubtedly be viewed by prospective jurors and will inevitably lead these jurors to the perception that he is guilty. Inevitably. So if he's not in civilian attire, he will inevitably be let go, is the argument. Okay, let's talk about that. I don't think your problem is his outfit.
Wow.
But you can have opinions that this guy is guilty as sin. But these brainless hacks on here, and I'm sorry I'm going to go down this route right now, and I'm sorry, she's a woman, so then I'm going to pick on the easy thing. But she's falling into the dumb, look, she's not even blonde. I can't even use blonde jokes. I mean, honey, you've got such pretty blonde hair. Why do you have to dye your roots? But you have to go down this route because you're trying to be a news person commenting on a actual legal issue that there's precedent for. When have you ever seen a trial take place where the person is in their prison garb? It doesn't happen because it is highly prejudicial and you're just going to get it overturned. It's like no one in their right mind. So the question really is not about whether that can be done at trial. It's, can it be done? Does he have to wear the jail garb? All the preceding things. Did you see him get shot? Did you see him shoot the gun? I have some questions still. However, this is about legal proceedings and you have a due process that you're still supposed to go to. And of course, you know, this is probably someone who loved Abu Ghraib, but then is all up in arms about other shit. But anyway,
I don't think your problem is his garb. I think your problem is the evidence. What we know of the evidence, and this is just what we know, they have DNA evidence on the towel that the gun was wrapped in.
By the way, I'm frustrated here because I would say alleged evidence. I don't know that this is the case. The FBI is just throwing this out there, right? The FBI, the deep state that you railed against for years, they're the ones you're believing now. The Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, who said, I'm going to go, you know, Dan Bongino, we're going to get to the bottom of these Epstein files. There was nothing there. There was no, I've seen it all. There was nothing there. JFK, you know, I've looked at all the evidence. Okay, have you? Really? You've done that? Kash Patel, day one of the administration, I'm going to go there and I'm going to turn the J. Edgar Hoover building into a museum of the deep state. Yeah.
On the screwdriver, the rifle's trigger, other parts of the rifle, the fired cartridge casing, and 2 of the 3 unused cartridges. All that DNA evidence they have to get past. Then you move to him texting his roommate saying, look underneath the keyboard. His roommate lover. Underneath the keyboard was a note. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take it. Got to get past the note. Get past the note, get past the DNA evidence, then you got to get past the text.
We're going to play, by the way, the judge today, okay? The presumption of, and she could be completely right. I don't know because one, I don't know that they said they had DNA swabs. Did they already match it? Are we able to see that we had an expert come in and testify to this to her? No. All this evidence on this gun, is that the gun that actually shot Charlie Kirk? These are things you have to put together, honey. You can't just make declarative statements that this is the way it's going to be and no, you've got to actually you got to link everything, okay? So we're still in that process. Hey, we had text messages. Have you seen the text messages? I don't say that I'm doubting that they exist. I'm just saying I kind of doubt the way that it was put up, okay? We didn't see screenshots. It was they just typed it out on the indictment. So we don't know these things. So her saying all this, and once again, the presumption of innocence, she doesn't know what that means. I'm sorry, honey, it's a tough word.
Why? Lover says. Why did I do it? Robinson replied. Yeah, replies Lover. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hatred cannot be negotiated out. Get past the text messages. Oh, wait, there's more. You have the testimony, likely, of his parents, where he implied, this is according to the county attorney, he was the shooter, stated he couldn't go to jail, wanted it to end, and said that there's too much evil from this guy referring to Charlie Kirk. You got to get past all that. The outfit is a footnote. You got to get past the evidence.
Look, where you started, and I looked around the couch, and I could see all your faces. They've got a media problem? No, it's not us.
Yeah.
It's him.
That sounded like a closing statement from a prosecutor, what we just heard from Kaylee.
Yeah, that's only what we know.
Right,
that's only what we know.
That's the magnitude of the evidence against this person.
Oh, that's sad. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. I know he's a gay guy, Republican. That's really sad that you would say that because it'd be like, okay, fine. If you're able to present that, we're talking about, does he even get a chance to not have to wear the jumpsuit? Jesus. Let's go here. Why did Tyler's dad turn him in? There's been extra reporting that his dad didn't do it, and I think that's just the problem you have with these people too. They hear the initial snapshots, and everything's just goes from there. It was this police officer that did that. So George Slopanopoulos, yeah. That thing gonna look like a monster before morning makeup. Absolutely. What's up, Will? Don't forget to bring a towel, okay? I didn't think Kash Patel is deep state. Well, J. Edgar Hoover Museum of Cross-Dressing, right. Good point, Hubbleson. It was the FBI all along. His eyes protrude too much to be that deep. Yo, screwed. Okay, thanks for everybody for coming back here. Let's play now. The actual judge is going to walk through this. I'm going to actually put it on 1.25 speed. He's a little bit of a boring judge. He obviously is reading what he's got here because he's concerned about what you got going. But this was today. I don't know who these people are. I wish they would have their captions up there of which attorneys are representing whom. Either way, though, this is the judge's ruling today on whether he's going to be shackled and or in a jumpsuit. And obviously, the judge is not going to make him wear that in trial, you would assume. but let's see if he's going to do it in any of the preliminary stuff. And I mean, this is a no-brainer to me. Why would you need to not do this? Anyway, let's go here. This is 11 minutes. I think we'll probably play most of it.
And without physical restraints at all pretrial hearings.
This is where it started, by the way, just with these
words.
words.
Of the arguments involved in court security.
Let me know what the volume is.
The court held a closed hearing on October 24th, 2025. During that hearing, the parties addressed several related matters. The first, Mr. Robinson's motion to strike the sheriff's response. The second, Mr. Robinson's motion to appear in civilian clothing and without physical restraints. The third, the sheriff's and Mr. Robinson's request to limit or exclude visual recording and photography in the courtroom. And finally, the fourth matter, the state's request to have all non-evidentiary hearings held remotely. The parties have stipulated that the state's request to hold non-evidentiary hearings virtually, as well as the parties' joint request to limit electronic media coverage, both require further briefing. Those issues are not yet ready for the court's decision. To facilitate that briefing, the court directs as follows. If the state wishes to have all non-evidentiary hearings conducted via WebEx, it must file a separate motion. The court will not rely on prior briefing. The standard timelines for response and reply apply, and the parties must file a request to submit and request a hearing if desired. If the parties seek to limit or restrict electronic media coverage, they may file a joint motion. Again, the court will not rely on prior briefing. That motion must address the factors set forth in Rule 4-401.01 sub 2 of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration. Standard response and reply times apply, and the parties must file a request to submit once the matter is ripe for decision. The court took under advisement two issues, the motion to strike and the motion to appear in civilian clothing and without restraints. Court now issues its ruling. In regards to the motion to strike the sheriff's response, the prosecution and the sheriff's department filed a joint opposition to the defendant's motion to appear in civilian clothing and without restraints. Mr. Robinson moved to strike the sheriff's portion of that filing, arguing it was procedurally improper because the sheriff is not a party. At the hearing, all agreed that the sheriff's department is not a party in this case. The state and the sheriff's office nevertheless argued that the sheriff may file memoranda as a non-party. Mr. Robinson disagreed, but did not object to the court considering the sheriff's position on security. The court finds that the sheriff's department is not a party to this case, and therefore its joint filing with the prosecution was...
By the way, you can file... Hang on. Okay, and by the way, I'm trying to use this other phone as a camera, and something's screwy tonight. Keep going back and forth. But check this out. I'll go back here. This is my workspace. Look at that. Nice and tidy. I don't know why it's not coming in very good, but that's what we got going on here. There's the camera. It was one of them. Yeah. Sorry. That's what we got going on there. So you can file a motion or a lawsuit against the jail, against the jailer, the sheriff, for habeas corpus about, live body that is keeping you there unjustly for whatever reason. And we actually, in the Leo Frank stuff, there was actually one of the motions or lawsuits that he had filed in appeals was against for his, personal, for his body. Let's go here. George Stephanopoulos. Yeah. Lady in the bottom middle looks like that Frankenstein head. Yes, she does. Bought a sub on Substack. Thanks for the content. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that. Yeah, people, support this nigga. That's right. I think the top left lady is Tyler's main lawyer. I think I've seen her before. That's not, I don't know who that is. So Tyler Robinson being a troon is enough for him to be in prison, but he didn't off Charlie Kirk, then the shooter also needs to be imprisoned. There's like 14 chins. Yes, less than a Chinese football. Okay, people, let's keep going here.
Procedurally improper. Accordingly, defendant's motion to strike the sheriff's response is granted. However, under Rule 3-414 of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration, the court is required to coordinate courtroom security with the sheriff's department. Consistent with that rule and with the defendant's agreement, the court has considered the substance of the state's opposition and the memorandum prepared by the court security director that was attached to it. Going forward, if either party has a security concern specific to this case, they may present evidence from the sheriff's department by affidavit. Declaration Exhibit or testimony. This order does not limit the Sheriff's Department's ability to coordinate with the court or otherwise act as authorized by law. Turning to the motion to appear in civilian clothing and without physical restraints. The parties agree that during trial, a defendant has a right to appear in civilian clothing and that any restraints must be concealed from the jury. Mr. Robinson now seeks to extend those rights to all pretrial proceedings. The court considered each request separately. In relation to request to appear in civilian clothing, Mr. Robinson asks to appear in civilian clothing at all pretrial hearings. He argues that the extensive media coverage of this case creates a real risk of prejudice if the public and potential jurors repeatedly see him in jail attire. The state, the Sheriff's Department, and the court security director opposed the request, arguing that jail clothing assists with safety and identification. The court has balanced these competing concerns. The case has attracted extraordinary public and media attention. Images of Mr. Robinson in jail clothing are likely to circulate widely and influence prospective jurors. Given the scale of that publicity, the risk of prejudice is significant. However, Mr. Robinson's, let me see here.
Uh-oh.
As previously stated, Mr. Robinson sits before this court presumed innocent, and that presumption remains unless and until each element of every offense charged against him is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. To date, this has not occurred, and the presumption of innocence remains. Balancing these factors, the court finds that Mr. Robinson's right to the presumption of innocence outweighs the minimal inconvenience of permitting civilian attire, and Mr. Robinson shall be dressed as one who is presumed innocent. Accordingly, the defendant's request to appear in civilian clothing for all pretrial proceedings is granted. Defense counsel is directed to coordinate with the jail to ensure that this order is implemented, and the court further orders that if the clothing be provided 72 hours prior to any hearing. To the second request to appear without physical restraints, Mr. Robinson also requests to appear unrestrained during pretrial proceedings. He argues that visible restraints would prejudice potential jurors, undermine his dignity, and interfere with his ability to communicate with counsel. Rule 3-14 sub 9C of the Utah Rules of Judicial Administration requires that all in-custody defendants be restrained unless otherwise ordered by the court. The court recognizes that Mr. Robinson has no criminal history and no record of misconduct while in custody. However, the charges he faces are extraordinarily serious, carrying potential penalties of life imprisonment or death. The safety of Mr. Robinson, the attorneys, court staff, and the public must remain the court's highest priority. The emotional nature of these proceedings also raise the risk of disruption. Given these factors, the defendant's request to appear without restraint is denied. The court directs the Sheriff's Department to conduct an individualized assessment and use the least restrictive restraints necessary to maintain safety. If those restraints impede the defendant's ability to communicate with counsel or take notes, counsel may renew the motion. I wish now to also address the decorum and media restrictions. To mitigate any potential prejudice, the court will amend its standing decorum order. The media will be prohibited from photographing or visually recording Mr. Robinson's restraints and from photographing or recording him while entering, exiting, or standing in the courtroom. In making this amendment, the court has considered the factors in Rule 4-401.01 sub 2. This is a high-profile case with strong public interest. Restricting the recording of restraints strikes the proper balance between Mr. Robinson's right to a fair proceeding and the public's right to access and transparency. In conclusion, the court orders as follows. Defendant's motion to strike the sheriff's response is granted. Defendant's motion to appear in civilian clothing is granted. Defendant's motion to appear without restraints is denied. The standing decorum order will be amended to prohibit any visual recording or photography of the defendant's restraints or of the defendant entering or exiting the courtroom. This constitutes the order of the court, and a written order and ruling will be published shortly. Both defense and prosecution have stipulated to vacate the October 30th hearing. Additional time is needed to complete discovery and to file motions addressing whether non-evidentiary hearings should be conducted virtually, whether to impose any blanket restrictions on cameras in the courtroom, and any other motions that may arise. This matter is set to return before the court on January 16th, 2026.
Okay, that's pretty much it. But let's take a look at these people. So you got the judge up here, decent looking bloke. This guy down here, fine. These two guys over here, okay. These women, what? What are we doing here, ladies? This one over here on the top left, Xena, the warrior princess gone wrong. This one down here, I don't know what's going on with that. They make this middle one in here look like work hot, right? Like you're at work. These are the people you work with. At some point, this girl in the top middle here, you're like, she's A+. But if you're going out, probably not. Now, are they all good attorneys? I don't care. They might be. This is the kind of legal show you guys have tuned into. I'm sorry to tell you. Hiring a female attorney, face the wall. Women help project sympathy better. Man, let me tell you, I'll come back to this because I have, very tidy, cable management on point. Thank you. Yeah, I have cable management very much so. There's this one, I got this new Mac Mini, the M4, and I need to put it up. I have a place to put it where the old one was. And then, so the cables aren't quite there, but they're getting back here because I got to have it nice and clean here. Read what you just typed. That might be the gayest sentence ever. Okay. I'll pay a woman because I want sympathy. Now, you're talking about a female attorney. I mean, what's interesting out there is this, people often think, and I had a client once, he hired me, and I'm walking him through what we're going to do. We're going to be going to court. He suddenly gets really over his skis about what he wants to have a control in. And I'm like, this guy's a little bit much. And then he says, you know what? And he comes to me and he's like, I've hired this woman attorney. I'm going to go away because I think I'm a man and I need a woman. And I'm like, okay, whatever. He's like, but the problem is she's not available for the upcoming hearing, and they wouldn't continue it. So I go in there to make the arguments. I'm like, okay, fine, you're paying for me. And I fucking killed it and we won. And then he's like, maybe I've made a mistake. I said, no, you haven't. I said, you've got exactly what you wanted. You've got her. Go her. I don't want you around if you're going to have, we don't need to have this relationship, right? Just make sure my bill's paid and then go on with her. And you'll decide if the one hearing we had, I won for you, which this was an uphill battle one. It's one of those typical ones where you're like, this is going to be a no-brainer. We went in there and we killed it. And I don't know what his problem was, but anyway, sometimes women, people think that that's what they're going to get. And then I don't find a lot of the women attorneys that I work with sympathetic. Okay. They're like pit bulls, or they're just not good. They're just like men. And so it's what it is. He shot a dude in the neck in front of all of us. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Did he? I don't know if he did. And he turned himself in. Actually, Hubbleson. Okay, I don't know that you're being truthful now. And not like they had APD out for Tyler Robinson either. He confessed to his dad. He recognized him from the pic. You know, could be right. By the way, all of this, I'm perfectly fine. I don't know if you guys got a chance to, go check this out. And by the way, I just don't really know either which way. I'm loving all the theories coming in, but there's some out there that are crazy, and then you can dispel them. Okay, let's see all this stuff in. Let's do this. And this is why I want all this testimony to come in. I want all of this stuff to come in so that when we're done, there's not a question if it's him. And by the way, and I didn't say that way too much. I got to stop with these words. Turkey Tom. I saw this, Meme Copium posted it out the other day, and then a bunch of people have been talking about it. He did a breakdown of Tyler Robinson, and it was from a friend that leaked a bunch of stuff. These guys, it makes them look, you're like, you know what? I'm starting to see it. It's taking shape. You've got to, though, tie this thing into me to the 30-06, not going through the neck. That I'm confused about still. Work hot is a pretty good description. Oh yeah, I've totally came up with that one years ago. Totally, it's a situation. That's what it was. I'm just saying, it looks bad for him. Yes, a female to get all emotional for him and try to get him off the death penalty is probably the best he can do. Nope. I've never met a female attorney that wasn't an absolute monster. There are some good ones out there. I work with a few that are, you have good relationships and they're just quality people and they're just trying to do their job and they're honest. That's the real key there. Because, you have a relationship with these, you're working back and forth, especially family law. It's a lot. And if you can't if you can make comments and work some things out, and then they come to fruition later on, they uphold their deal. Those are golden people. I do. There's several that, you know, I had a guy last year, and I'm like, you know, because you have to serve things physically, and I'm said, will you accept them by electronic email? Yes. I was on the phone with him, and I didn't do a follow-up email. Later on, I served him something. He's like, no, we don't. And I'm like, dude, we had this conversation. You've served me stuff. I've accepted it, and I've served other things. Now you're going to say it's not? Okay, I see where we're going to go with this one. So, you know, Kohlberger did it too. I think he did kill that guy. Those people, I mean. Meme codes made them seem really gay. Well, I mean, you know what was interesting there? It was what the friend that leaked all this info, he's talking about when he figures out that those two are hooking up. Lance Twigg and Tyler Robinson are hooking up. And he's like, you know, I don't really care, but I was really kind of disgusted. And you're like, yeah, because you heard them doing stuff in the other room through the wall. And I don't care what you think and how open you are. For most guys, it's a visceral reaction when two dudes are making out, holding hands, doing whatever. I'm sorry. It's just for typical people. It's the judge also cut breaks for female attorneys that they don't for men. You got to take that into account. It depends. I perceive with so many eyeballs on this judge hopefully won't be Judge Ito with, you know, just a horrible judge for O.J. Simpson, had no control of the courtroom. Or what was the lady that did the Karen Reed's case? She was bad, right? But then there's have some good ones. The one with Rittenhouse, he was a solid judge. So we've had some Adelson that I just watched down there. He was really good. So hopefully this guy will be a good judge. I don't know. We will see. Only time will tell. Don't skip over this. Don't skip over how this was happening in a nest of filth. That was the most fascinating part. That this, if go watch it, Turkey Tom. Go look at him up on YouTube. This would be perfect. Back to Eddie saying he subscribed to my Substack. That would be something that we could just watch as a members only. Maybe we'll do a members only this week, right? Maybe we'll do members only this week. Women should not be judges. I'll tell you what, man. One of the worst judges I ever had up against was a male, okay? And some of the best judges I've been up against, or you know, in front of, have been females. It just depends. Oddly, but I'm just thinking of the last two. Like the last trial I had, it was a female, and she was very good. Okay, very good. Just no bullshit. Indian lady. The worst one I had was also an Indian lady. It was a man, but he was very much like he was such a sissy. I think I've told this story before where he's calling out. It was a situation where my client was concerned about their money. So he texted the wife, hey, we have zero money in our account right now, zero. And she was out partying with the girls. And she's like, too bad. And she's doing this in the middle of the night. And he went to, I don't know what I remember. It was been years ago. So she brings these text messages to the judge, and he's looking at this, and he's like, this is really overstepping. And I'm like, well, I mean, you know, they had zero money in their account at the time because it was about a restraining order. And he's like, I don't know. One moment he's controlling her with the money. Next moment she's dead. And it wasn't even anything of the accusations that were going on. And I just jumped in. And I basically said, oh, that's really hyperbolic to make these. Oh, and he was all mad about this. But yeah, he was horrible. It was Dot. Oh, come on. It was a Dot for sure. Yeah. There you go. That's what we have there. Okay, so I want to just pull. Man, what's going on with my mouse? Sometimes you get a mouse. There you go. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm having trouble. This mouse does not want to behave here. This is Andrea Burkhardt's Substack. I'm putting you people onto her. She does good stuff, but mostly because she has this legal doc archive of all the Charlie Kirk filings in here. If you want them, you can just download them for free or take a look. There you go. There's also this issue about lawyers alleged assassin asked to ban courtroom cameras. So that's what we don't want is courtroom cameras banned. Fine to have the cameras not on him when he's walking in and out. That's typical. They don't show the jury either, but you don't show him shackled. That's definitely something you don't want. Reply in support of motion to strike. This was the judge just actually ruled on this one because the actual Salt Lake City Police Department, I think that's who had done this one, had filed a brief in there, and they're like, they're not a fucking, this was the motion to strike that. So they're like, well, they're not an actual party to this case. What time we got here? 7 o'clock Pacific. I think I got a little bit more time. I have to go pick up my wife. She's at an event with some of the ladies. So let's go walk through this. And don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff here, people. Incredibly hyperbolic and insane. Yes, this one really needs to be televised. This one has to be televised. I think the outcry, if it's not, should be huge. There's a First Amendment right that we have to be able to publish these things. So we should know about these things. I mean, it goes back to, if you look at cameras in the courtroom, the legality of this. I'm trying to remember who I heard talking. Maybe it was Andrea. She was talking about it back to the 1980s in Texas. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't go against anybody's due process. And matter of fact, I think it's more beneficial, right? Especially in a situation like this. I'm really hoping it is. So, cameras in the courtroom, I want them in there. I think we need to have them in there. I also don't want Tyler Robinson in shackles, right? You've got to do, I mean, we've all seen, there is this thing in the courtroom that you have to, balance the hardships, or balance basically between prejudicial effects and, safety or whatnot, saying that he could be dangerous. Well, we've seen Daryl Brooks, okay? Or what was the other one? Shabusiness. She attacked her attorney twice. Yeah, but you've got bailiffs there. And if you're really concerned, you have the bailiffs a little bit more close or whatnot. You don't think we've had really dangerous people in a Utah courtroom before? Come on. I mean, there's been women in there. So, yeah. There's they could totally take care of that, but you've got to have a little bit, especially in Utah. I haven't heard of this case. Okay, this case here is more Charlie Kirk stuff. This is Emily Orbison. Okay. Well, wait a second. He doesn't look dangerous. But back to McEnany's point, he's guilty of sin. So if you killed Charlie Kirk, he is dangerous, and he was banging a tranny. I mean, that's not nothing. Okay. But I definitely think the Utah Police Department and the courthouse bailiffs and stuff can take care of this guy. This is a civil action. It's Emily Orbison. Yes, she is related to Roy Orbison. Okay, filing this motion against Williamson County Schools. Jason Golden, superintendent. So the schools collectively, the superintendent individually, in both his personal and official capacities. I started to talk about this a little bit before, and then there's other things too. Yes, Roy Orbison. Okay, doesn't even look like he ever exercised. I don't know. He was doing some sort of either pitcher catcher stuff. I mean, you got to be a little bit in shape to be that, right? What does dangerous look like, right? Plaintiff brings her this 42 USC 1983 action alleging that defendants have violated and continued to violate plaintiff's First Amendment constitutional rights by retaliating against her in her role as a public school teacher for expressing her political speech in a purely personal capacity. Plaintiff now seeks damages and injunctive relief against defendants for these violations of plaintiff's constitutional rights. So this bitch goes out there and makes complaints about Charlie Kirk after the fact, and but she's a teacher, so people, the school, they complained. I think she's like 4th or 5th grade teacher. They complained about it, and she got fired. And what's going to be interesting with this one is she's going about, hey, it's in my personal capacity. But the problem she has is she then equates everything to her experience. And the reason she said these personal issues is because of the dynamics and everything that happened to her as a school teacher. So she can't separate them even in her own lawsuit. Kid weighs like 150. I wish I weighed 150. I used to. Plaintiff is Emily Orbison, a resident of Williamson County, Tennessee. Defendant is a school, municipal level government entity responsible for administrating public education in Williamson County, located in Tennessee. Defendant, Jason Golden, Superintendent Golden, is the superintendent of the Williamson County Schools. On information, I believe, Superintendent Golden resides in Williamson County, Tennessee. Jurisdiction. They brought it in federal court, federal claims, and so she brings, federal issues. Otherwise, you'd have to have diversity and matters over, $75,000. Venue lies in the district pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391, Section B2, because defendant resides in this district, and the events at issue of the law in this lawsuit occurred in this district. Plaintiff, Miss Orbison, is a professional public school teacher. Wait, I gotta have a, it's gotta be a, she's been a teacher for 5 years. Miss Orbison taught for Metro Nashville Public Schools 2021 to 2024. In 2024, she earned her master's degree in education from Lipscomb University. Miss Orbison then accepted a position with Williamson County Schools. I'm sorry, we're going to do this. How do you spell that? Was it Lipscomb? Let's see here, because we're going to look this university. Lipscomb. That's how you... Lipscomb University, Tennessee. I don't know, or is it Lipscomb, a private Christian college in Nashville, Tennessee? Okay, so it seems like it's somewhat of a legit school, I guess. Join the herd. All right, it's a school. Then she accepted this position. She's got her master's and she's teaching in a public school. She started in the fall of 2024, was signed to teach science at Franklin High School. Miss Orbison works hard so she's a high school teacher, to give her students the teaching and support they need. Once again, she's going after them because she said things in private, but she's going to equate everything to being a teacher. She can't separate those. And if she can't separate those, should the court separate those when trying to say that she can say what she wants to in a public, as a public person? That would be my put on the other side. She has a daughter who at the time of the complaint is being filed is 5 years old. The daughter is in kindergarten who attends WCS school. As a WCS public school teacher, Miss Orbison has automatically security clearance to volunteer at her daughter's school. Miss Orbison volunteers frequently and is engaged in her daughter's education. As a mother, Miss Orbison planned to participate in her daughter's school fall festival on September 19, 2025. As a mother, Miss Orbison planned, but see, she gets this automatic safety clearance because she's a school teacher, not because she's a special mom. So she gets this only because she's a school teacher, but then she gets to do all this stuff as a parent, okay? But other teachers, other parents would have to go through I imagine, pre-clearance of some sort to get this kind of, clearance, security clearance. She planned to participate in parent-teacher conference. Miss Orbison planned to participate in her daughter's first school book fair. She planned to assist her child's first field trip, scheduled not her first one, but her field trip on October 21, 2025. That was just a few days ago. I wonder if she was able to do it. The school shooting crisis in this country for the past several decades, after the Columbine massacre in 1999. By the way, I lived there. I lived I was in that district when Columbine happened. I was in Colorado right there when it happened. This county has endured numerous mass shootings at elementary, middle, and high schools across the country. Columbine, Sandy Hook, Uvalde, Parkland. An ever-growing list of mass shootings goes on, and at this point reportedly having reached a total of 111 such shootings over the past decade. Well, we'll see. Many school staff, school children, staff, and faculty have been killed or seriously injured in these massacres, leaving communities traumatized and rendering what should a safe place for teachers and students, public schools, fraught with peril. Because of the ongoing reality of these shootings, teachers and children alike must be trained, prepared for the possibility of an active shooter threat. These school shootings have been a catalyst for making proposals about gun control, one of the most contentious political issues in the country, pitting those in favor of tighter gun restrictions, which they believe would make the country safer. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean it does, because these are gun-free zones, right? We've talked about that kind of stuff before, right? Against those in favor of little to no firearm restrictions, which they believe is fundamental to civil liberties. Well, I'll tell you what's fundamental to civil liberties is a freedom to have a gun and go places, right? Maybe to even protect your children at a school, right? This contentious political issue played out, continues to play out countless times in the media, the polls. Okay, so you're bringing politics into your thing here. One such, this hot button political issue is the late conservative activist known as Charlie Kirk. The late Mr. Charlie Kirk is a well-known conservative activist. He founded TPUSA. 31 years old, time of his death, became a major political force. He debated kids on college campuses, public exhibitions designed to defeat and humiliate these young kids whose views are different from his. So, look, this is not true. And this is exactly the kind of stuff you would expect from someone who's, and I'm wondering if she's going to, because I haven't looked at this yet, I'm wondering if she's going to put in here the actual quotes that got her fired, or if she's just going to say, I got fired for saying my political views. And what were your political views that you got fired for? That will be interesting. Are they worse? Because this is bullshit. I mean, we've talked about this for many times. I don't think Charlie's goal was to humiliate kids. I think that's Steven Crowder's goal. I think that's Ben Shapiro's goal when they go on campus. Does Dave Rubin go on campus? His kind of humiliation ritual is a little bit different than straight guys, but it's all humiliation. I get it, but I just don't think Charlie. I don't actually think. And if you watch a lot of the videos, I don't think Charlie Kirk was about the humiliation process. It was actually about. One, he would always try to get a point of agreement with them, clarity, and then have a debate. And sometimes these kids got humiliated because they do suck. Turning Point swiftly became a multi-million-dollar organization. Okay, Kirk maintained a frenetic messaging pace through the Turning Point podcast. Mr. Kirk's on social media, his college, and other public appearances. Okay, that's true. He and Donald Trump became friends and political allies, with Mr. Kirk supporting Trump and working hard. Yes, that's true. Played a significant role in helping Trump and win 2024 election. I believe that's true, but not by humiliating kids, but getting them to vote for Trump. So I don't know how you square those two. Mr. Kirk espoused many hardcore conservative. Okay, if you've watched my show and then you think that Charlie Kirk is hardcore, I don't know what you think this is. Political views considered to be radical in this country, terrifying and infuriating many Americans, particularly women, black people, and other people of color, and much of Kirk's commentary centering on each of these demographic groups. Well, I hope you would have to be able to prove that, right? His position on school shootings. The shooter attacked Nashville's Covenant School, a Presbyterian parochial school. The attacker shot and killed 9-year-old. Over the weekend, Covenant shooting, Charlie Kirk made a recorded statement in a public forum that, quote, "You will never live in a society where you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It is drivel." Yeah. I mean, are these people going to say that it's not drivel? We just talked about this. Lee was on here talking about the Glock thing because certain gangs are just loving the switch. They're putting it on the Glock. Let's go to we'll come right back to it. I want to look at, make sure we don't miss any of these. Most serials also do this. Wow, this story is crazy. Yeah, it is, Andy. I don't know where I got it. Cars unalive way more than guns. Nobody's talking about car control. Some people are. Wait, you're saying, Nevsky, you're saying they're not talking about that? What do you think environmentalism is all about? The electric car. No offense, but that's going to, where do you get your gas? Right now, you get in it, for the most part, it's privately funded, right? Private oil industries. I mean, I know they get it, but they make money. Then they sell it out, and then Pajit is out there selling it to you at an Arco or whatever your gas station is, right? Where do you get your electricity from? It's the grid. It's government controlled. You don't have your private electric. I mean, they are, but they're all semi, if they're even semi. So you don't think they're going to be able to control your electric car a little bit easier? Hardcore conservative, yeah. Some people want you only to use public transport. Yeah. See, that's true. The peeps in here, you guys got it. Okay. Kirk continued. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have the cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect other God-given rights. Kirk did not elaborate on what rights he believed God gave us, or to what extent those God-given correspond to the rights of the U.S. Constitution. There's an atheist writing this. And by the way, this makes me think about, like, if someone like this comes to me, I don't really have that. I have just family law. So it's, just your situation, and we're going to battle there. But if I had, was doing this kind of civil work, and someone came to me and they wanted to do this lawsuit here, I'd be like, I'm busy. I don't believe in your case. I did have one guy that was trying to argue, and this is similar, okay? He was trying to argue that his kids should not have braces, okay? Because, he didn't want to pay for it or something. And so I'm having to argue this, okay? I'm having to argue that his kids should not have braces. Let's back up my life a little bit. I'll give you a little hint here. I have 2 sisters, okay? Both married. So my ex-wife, dental hygienist. One sister, dental hygienist. The other sister, dental hygienist. Brother-in-law, orthodontist. The other brother-in-law works as the office manager for the orthodontist. And you want me to go in there with a straight face to try to say that these kids don't need braces. My kids had braces before when they had their baby teeth. They come to, swear to God, they had early, and then they had loose teeth, but it helped straight, and then they had them. It's a whole process. I couldn't argue that. True, but cars aren't banned outright. Okay, some are. There's a whole Reddit group. Okay, cars. I'm talking about people with power. Okay, this show is great. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to just keep this one up. Thanks, Andy, for saying that. We'll leave this one up there if you guys still read it. Kirk then claimed it would be simple to reduce school shootings, and that all that would be required is to place armed guards at front of schools. As proof of this proposition, Kirk claimed that baseball games, airports, and banks experience shootings there because there are, according to Kirk, armed guards in front of baseball that are in banks. It's also private security. Mr. Kirk did not address this statement whether he would be willing to sacrifice himself or his wife or his own kids for the sake of prudent. This is their law. This is such crap here. This is amazing. Presumably, however, Kirk's rational. This lawsuit is just really another way to try to take on Charlie Kirk, his arguments. Is that what you're doing? The Kirk did not address his statement whether he would be willing to sacrifice himself, his wife, and his own children for the sake of his prudent, rational deal. Presumably, however, Kirk's rational calculus would have likewise considered his and his family's lives to be expendable at the sake of his cherished political goal of maintaining an armed citizenry. This is batshit crazy. On another occasion in which he spoke of the topic of gun control, Kirk once again scoffed at the idea of this is a lawsuit. This is their complaint. They're taking on the arguments of Charlie Kirk in their complaint. Kirk stated, gun control, like vaccines and masks, is focused to make people feel safe by taking freedoms from others. Don't fall for it. Yes. Charlie Kirk's position on Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a radical and an economic justice advocate who served as one primary leaders during the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Don't forget he was a philanderer. In 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated. No, he was put down by the FBI. The assassination, a white man named James Earl Ray. You're going to go with that one? Even the Martin Luther King family says it's the FBI. Shot and killed Martin Luther King with a gun. While Martin Luther King Jr., by the way, shouldn't it be Junior? Isn't it Junior? How come it's not Junior in this one? Is this his dad, Martin Luther King? So his dad was a controversial figure, or Martin Luther King Jr. was a controversial figure? This says his dad was. Well, his dad was, because it doesn't say Junior. Why his dad was a controversial figure during his life in the years after his death. He was widely credited having served a major role in improving racial justice in America. Well, that's just subjective. Why are you putting subjective things in here? In 1983, then President Ronald Reagan, a conservative Republican, signed a bill into law establishing the third Monday in January each year as Martin Luther King Day, a federal holiday. Well, you know what? Charlie Kirk has a day named after him now. Don't we have Charlie Kirk Day? Let's take it here. Take a look. Charlie Kirk National Day. Okay. October 14, 2025 was designated the National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Well, there you go. So I don't know what your point is about trying to talk about Martin Luther King. You know what their point is. He's a racist. He didn't like Martin Luther King. He said bad things about Martin Luther King. Therefore, Martin Luther King had a holiday, which means you can't say anything. Okay, honey, you've got a national holiday with Charlie Kirk now. So Turning Point USA convention entitled America Fest. First, Kirk publicly declared MLK was awful. He was not a good person. Okay, that's yes, personally, he was kind of a shitty person. January 2024, during the week before MLK Day Jr., by the way, Mr. Kirk declared on his podcast, we'll be hitting MLK next week. Okay. As promised, January 15, 2024, which was both Martin Luther King Federal Jr., by the way, holiday and an anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, Mr. Kirk published several social media statements deriding Martin Luther King and his legacy. Okay. Is this whole lawsuit just trying to say it's justified to punch a Nazi, that kind of thing, right? Charlie Kirk often spoke publicly regarding his beliefs and his roles of men and women in society, taking the explicit position that women's proper role is to get married, submit to their husbands, have children, and raise children rather than in pursuit of their careers. I would prefer, by the way, if you're going to do this kind of shit, that was in quotations. Hopefully it would accurately be in quotations, right? You don't want to have a non-quote, but I'm saying find your fucking quote. Get a quote that you can put up there of what he actually said, not just summarizing what you think he meant, because otherwise, what's the point of all this? Speaking before an audience of high schoolers, Charlie Kirk advocated that high school girls should attend college primarily to get an MRS degree, and that women should treat learning some stuff as essentially an afterthought. Okay. Kirk publicly urged women to submit to godly man when they meet one. Yeah, on their knees. As reported in public media, one of Kirk's favorite Bible verses was Timothy 2:12, which states, I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. She is to remain quiet. Yeah, we've seen his wife. She's not remaining quiet. Kirk also publicly stated that young men need strong men as teachers because young men do not like taking orders from women and can only respect strong men. I mean, I imagine some of this needs to be in perspective here, context. August 2025, Kirk commented on his Charlie Kirk podcast about the news that singer Taylor Swift, a self-made billionaire who leads an entertainment business empire, had gotten engaged to Travis Kelce, a very skillful football player. Do we believe that? For his podcast Pulpit, Kirk ordered Swift to submit to her husband, Taylor, and told her, you're not in charge. Yeah. I don't know. What, just because she has the billions of dollars? I mean, he's just looking out for her safety. Travis Kelce is going to beat the shit out of her, and if you don't submit and know who's in charge, you're going to get a swift kick in the face. All right, punch in the face, maybe. I don't know. By the way, we're not making fun of domestic violence. We're not. We're just talking. Kirk then laughed and declared that mostly important Swift had to change her last name to Kelce, or she didn't really mean it. Yeah, okay. He was also laughing. Okay. Charlie Kirk expressed belief that black people are undeserving of their positions. Okay, that's probably true. This is an odd thing here. Oh, no, G. This is already a G? Okay. I don't like the way that they're formatting it, by the way. I would never have mine like this. Line 58, sorry. In 2021, Kirk referred to George Floyd as a scumbag. True. In 2023, Kirk publicly denigrated several prominent black female leaders, including Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's a horrible First Lady and Attorney Michelle Obama. Mike, yeah. Author and TV host Joy Reid and U.S. Congressperson and Attorney Sheila Jackson Lee. I'm sorry, these are quality comments people to be making comments about. Good for you, Charlie Kirk. More based than I suspected, I guess. From the comfort of his Charlie Kirk Show podcast, he told his esteemed members of society, all of whom had accomplished far more academically than Kirk himself ever did, that you do not have brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot to be taken somewhat seriously. Okay, this is, okay, we're talking about DEI stuff here, you motherfuckers. Kirk publicly stated on the Charlie Kirk show that if he saw a black airline pilot, I'm going to like, boy, I hope he's qualified. As an avowed, Charlie Kirk's position on the First Amendment. As an avowed constitutionalist, Charlie Kirk consistently expressed his strong belief in, now they're going to go and try to use his words against him. Oh my God, how dare they say that he was for free speech, no matter who it was. Yeah, but free speech just means, you know, there's still some consequences to your speech, perhaps. An avowed constitutionalist, Charlie Kirk consistently expressed his strong belief in and support of the right of free speech. He posted on social media platform the following quote: hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of that's protected by the First Amendment. True. While participating in a debate at Oxford, he denounced arrests of British citizen Lucy Connolly for her post she made on X. Okay, but these are like arrests. Doesn't mean you don't get your job taken. Although we'll see how it goes. What do I think about this? Mass deportations now. Set fire to all the fucking hotels full of bastards for all I care. It makes me racist. So be it. Kirk asserted that was a quote that he was talking about. Asserted that Connolly's arrest was an affront to civil liberties, declaring that there is not a free speech value at all. You should be allowed to say outrageous things. You should be allowed to say contrarian things. Free speech is a birthright. I don't know. It's a natural right, I guess. Kirk continued with a sweeping declaration of the citizens' moral obligation to advocate for a value-neutral free speech policy, and that such a policy is the bedrock of liberal democracy. Yeah, there they go. They quoted him that time. Charlie Kirk's shooting death. Shot, murdered, speaking at a college campus. Shooting immediately became a topic of great political relevance as it once again highlighted the question of whether Kirk's alleged rational, prudent deal of accepting numerous shootings each year in order to enjoy the alleged benefits having an armed citizenry is worth it. President Trump ordered flags at half-mast. The news of the killing and the theories of the suspect and the motives related to the killing and discussion of Kirk's views dominated the news and social media. As Mr. Kirk was much beloved by the the MAGA group movement, his murder triggered expressions of outrage and condemnation from millions of MAGA-aligned Americans. Likewise, numerous MAGA-aligned public officials and politicians have sanctimoniously grandstanded their judgment and condemnation of anyone who dares to make negative comments regarding Charlie Kirk's political views or otherwise denigrate MAGA's fallen hero. In contrast, across the United States, with more progressive political views and expressed Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, I see this as 31 pages. I want to get to the actual what she said. There we go. Her Instagram post. Over the years, Orbison followed Mr. Kirk's activist career and found Mr. Kirk's public political comments terrifying and infuriating on a wide range of issues. Okay, well that should, I would fire her just for feeling that way. Particularly Kirk's comments on school shootings and the role of women in society. Whatever, Miss Orbison. She was especially terrified by Kirk's espoused belief that it is appropriate, prudent, and rational to sacrifice teachers like Miss Orbison and students like Miss Orbison. He never said that. He said there was going to be gun violence, and if so, that was, the price you pay. So there you go. Noting he had fallen, so that's a misappropriating his comment. On September 10th, while Miss Orbison was at home, off work, and on personal time, she posted a story on her personal Instagram account from her personal electronic device satirizing Mr. Kirk's political position. By the way, why wasn't she at work? It's the middle of the fucking day on a weekday. Was it a Monday? I think it was. I was in court and I came home and yelled at Jose. I think it's worth it. It's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year. Okay, so she posts that, and then she says, don't worry, y'all. It's worth it. It's rational. It's prudent that I have to go through regular drills of practicing. Okay, so she's now not talking about her personal life. She's talking about how it impacts her as a teacher, and that is going to be the problem, I think, that she has here, which is she wants to say, this is me as a personal individual on my own time. But you know what you're doing? You're talking about the school process and how it impacts you as a teacher, which gets one of these. Not as a person. I don't know, teachers or whatever. I will be there to protect them, fighting with parents about cell phones because what about to get shot? Then we do not immediately leave the building. If a fire alarm goes off, the shooters can get us in the hallway to kill us. My 5-year-old has been in kindergarten for only a month and has already practiced twice for what to do when someone comes in to kill her. That I have to plan for. Why do I think this lady is like obese? Leaving a student in the hallway in case of a shooting. It could be a trap. I don't even get me started with the vile things that POS. I mean, this is a teacher. Things this POS, this piece of shit, has said about women. My blood is boiling just recalling them. Well, okay, so you're an irrational woman. Guess there wasn't a good guy with a gun there. Shame. Don't mourn his death. Just the price of doing business. Completely rational. Okay, there you go. So they got outraged. I want to look at where they're the suspension. I want to look at her causes of action. Does she have any of these causes of action? Investigative interrogation. Miss Orbison has rapidly obtained representation from the Tennessee Education. Okay, so she went to her union because she's scared. The grassroots petition supporting Miss Roberts. Oh, grassroots. Okay. I'm sure there's, because she just said the union, she went to the union and then suddenly there's a grassroots organization supporting her. I don't buy that. So where did it get the cause of action, people? Who cares if there's other shit here? Express our support. Ms. Orbison remains independently, definitely suspended and restrained. So just suspended, that's the problem. No contact order, HR investigation. Okay, so you filed this lawsuit, which just kind of goes right in the face of the investigation. Because she's been suspended, she's not allowed to participate in her daughter's fall fest. No, this is bullshit. Because we went over this. She got an automatic clearance, okay? Well, I guess she is restrained, so maybe she can't go on the school campus. I imagine she should be able to do that. That's pretty funny, though. She's the only person with all the logistical information regarding the trip. So she can't go on her daughter's. You fucked this over for your daughter. Wow. Way to go, big mouth. Substantially interfere. I was thinking that she was just saying because she had this automatic clearance and now this is revoked, but I think she has been restrained from the premises as well. So she's not able to go there for that purpose. I would imagine that the restrainment should allow if you've got a student there. That doesn't make any sense. You can definitely do that. So maybe there's some kind of workaround that they could have done, but she maybe didn't go there. There you go. Retaliation for private political speech. Yeah, but you talked about being a teacher. I mean, the defendant has retaliated against Ms. Orbison for her social media posts. This is under 48 USC 1983, but they're not saying what the terms of the what the elements for the retaliation is. Ms. Orbison posts about matters of public great concern, shootings, gun policy, women in society, controversial figures, whatever governmental needs WCS may have a public employer, they are insufficient to justify gagging Ms. Orbison's right. Okay, well, yeah, say what you want. Tell you what, when you get fired, you'll have every right. She's against Ms. Orbison would deter a person of ordinary firmness from engaging in political speech. Ms. Orbison's social media post and resulting republication of that post by WC board members and the Federalist, there you go, they took it up, and some sole basis for defendant's suspension without pay, no contact orders. Thus, Ms. Orbison's exercise of free speech obviously caused defendant's adverse action. Defendants have all acted under the color of law and punishing Ms. Orbison for, that's no doubt. As the ACLU recently put it in response to a nationwide push to terminate and discipline teachers for daring to criticize Mr. Politico's views. Government officials calling for people, she did more than just criticize his views though. Express their political views to lose their job, I don't really care about that. WCS has acted in the municipal policy level in instituting these adverse actions. Defendants have retaliated against Ms. Orbison for political speech. blatant, reckless, and intentional disregard for her First Amendment rights, defendants' illegal retaliation, Ms. Orbison's private political speech has inflicted both financial and emotional harm, okay? And then violation of the 14th Amendment, parental rights, what? Defendant's no contact order has unreasonably interfered with her fundamental right to be involved in her child's education on several reasons. Yeah, okay, then carve that out. I'm sure that would be possible. Violation of Tennessee parental rights statute. So this is a request for relief. Okay, so what it all comes down to, though, is the fact, and they can make this, a lot of this moot, the school right away, that the defendant's answers complaint in the time provided that cause jury trial, judgment for plaintiff against the defendants on each count, be awarded nominal, compensatory, and punitive damages. The plaintiff be awarded attorney's fees, reasonable litigation, any other relief. So it didn't say that she wanted her job back. Interesting. Notice her big complaints there are that since this happened and she's under suspension, she can't go and do some of the things with her 5-year-old, because it sounds like they're on the same campus. So the high school where she teaches, now she's restrained. She can't go and do shit with her daughter. Tell you what, just withdraw as a teacher and you'd be able to go do those things, I'm sure. Because there really isn't much that she brought up here. Retaliatory action, firing her for a teacher. I don't know. Tyler is getting tipsy. No, I'm not. What I am is I ran out of stuff to drink. Well, I still have a little bit here. And my throat's dry and I'm just getting annoyed with trying to read. That's what it is. Not going to fly well in court. Let's see here. Can we go to the chat? Charlie was definitely way more based than people knew. He also knew how to hide his power levels like J.D. Vance and Tucker Carlson. Cumia is one of the best at not hiding it. They let him back on radio. Yeah, he's pretty good. Says a lot about general fatigue of society. Troons should never be allowed to own guns. Okay, so what I want to look here, let's see if I was missing anything. Do this, pop out this chat. I still haven't figured out a good way to actually look at the chat I have. See if I missed any of them here. Hardcore conservative. Okay, true. This show is great. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes, let's do that. Looks like they made the holiday for his dad too. It's pretty cool that white people have their own MLK Day now. Yeah, the FBI was right about that one. Makes up for Juneteenth. MLK was a commie philo-Semite. I love Timothy 2:12. Tyler is getting tipsy. I'm not tipsy at all. Not even close to it, sadly. Just like I should have had some water up here with me. And look, I'll just tell you this. Andy will tell you up here. He doesn't like the way I read. I have a hard time reading like this. Sometimes I've wondered, I'm like, am I dyslexic? I don't think I am. I just lose concentration. 2A is for my friends. Two-factor authentication. Is that what you're going for? Okay, I think we're done there. So we went over, I think, everything I really needed to talk about tonight. That case, I don't think she has much of a chance. It'll be interesting. Do I want this kind of situation? No, I don't. I don't want her speech being chilled, but as a school teacher, I just think that when it should be the majority rule in a sense, which is the school comes together and they're just like, we don't want this person working there. The unions make it far too difficult to fire teachers, and you should be able to fire them for shit. If you don't like what she said there, fire her. I mean, I think, the fact that she's a lefty, you should be able to get rid of people like that. She's probably not very tolerant in the first place. So, free the will to fire people at will type of places would be nice. In your public school, it just doesn't happen. Should you be going after someone just saying this kind of thing? I mean, this is a weird little dynamic for me, because typically I'm just like, no. But then if it's like your kid goes to that school and she's teaching at that school, would you not go and complain? I mean, maybe I would, right? You definitely this is what would happen with me. It would be the youngest son or my youngest daughter, and those two would humiliate, because they are amazing. I should have them on the show sometime. They are amazing. They would humiliate someone like that as their teacher. They really would. They have a skill. Forget. The other day, Rylan was talking about something in class. What was he talking about? Because he was burning kids about public stuff that they were, like talking about election shit. So anyway, you've done good reading tonight. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. Never had a troon try and buy a gun from me, but I would refuse to sell them. Good for you. Do you have a lack of friends? No. Based. All right. I think we're out of here for that 7:40. We did a good show. So like and subscribe. Don't forget to do that. Share the show around, whatever. We'll be back. Go to the Substack. It's super easy. It's tyleryonke.substack.com. I put it on Twitter. I put it in the show notes here even. You go there. Just go. You can subscribe for free. And what you'll get is at least notification of when I'm going live. And I do plan, because I think I would like to, this was one that I thought would actually be fun to watch together, a group watch of this, but it's 2 hours, so it's maybe a bit much. But if we get some other things going on here, we can do this group watch. Maybe let me know what you think might be kind of fun this next week, and maybe we do it this week. So if you get the notification, what I end up doing is I will, one, you get to know when all the shows are going in case and it goes to your email, or you can have a pop-up on your phone. So at least I let you know, and then the links for it. So it's an easy aspect, way to find out when the show's going it's through Substack. But we could also, when we're going to do a group thing, I think we figured it out last time. We'll start it everywhere, and then we'll just have it only going over to Rumble. But Rumble will be private. We learned that. Have the link. There's also, the link you can do for Substack. But man, their live thing is only on your phone. And as JC was telling me last time, it was shit. So the ones that preach it inside the school should be fired for sure. Sure. I have a black friend of like 20 years, and he's based, but I still wouldn't sell him again. Nice Levi's shirt. Jewish denim is nice. I got this at the Levi's store. I don't know. Is it Jewish denim? Fuentes face. All right, guys. Have a good night. We are going to be out of here. I hope you all had a good one. Until next time, be there or be square. Outro. I don't think we have the Tower Gang. I had to change it up for Miss Mary Frank. Mary Frank. Mary Fagan King. Out.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any knowledge of the real world of what happens, we walk into Tim Catt's studio, immediately there's 4 Jewish lawyers.
King of the Druids!
That's all we needed. A Jewish princess.
Yeah, so I don't expect the normies like Tyler to understand these kind of things. He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in rural California. He's an idiot, really.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
This guy's, I wouldn't say he's full of shit, but I'd say he's stupid. Whatever, if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat now, I wouldn't pay attention to anything he says anyway. But
more or less, eat shit and die.
Don't ever come to the top left. He will end you. Do you see what he just did to Tyler? Just fucking challenge this.
Tyler's done.
Top is a maniac.
He can't even reply right now because he's crippled.
He's got nothing to say.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?